I'm here to obviously talk about Insight, not as a part of the team, but as an end user. So I think the first question is why I've been asked to do this, and that's partly because during my career I've worked as a supervisor, I've worked as a ATME, which I'm currently doing. Last year I did a stunt where I worked as 6 months covering TME, the TME role. And just recently, I had to step in as a section manager for 3 to 4 months for a brief time. So a part of that, I've used Insight at almost every level, or I have practically used it at every level. And throughout that time, I've learned it's a great tool. And I'm here to just talk you through what I find as the benefits of it, and why I would say if you're not using it, or if you have any sort of skepticism about it, why we should move to it, and obviously Rob will follow up with the sort of future aspects of it and what's coming next. So starting off from a section manager's point of view, so like I said recently, I was working as SM, or I was covering that for a short period of time, and what we found is that's just like the first time that I've worked from that perspective, and during that time I see that the systems all coming into the one interface has been like so beneficial. It's clear, it's visible. We can see the dashboard. It's customizable. We've got everything from the PLPR database, all the track quality, everything in one place. It reduces like switching between systems. It means when I work up to ATME and TME level, we've got all on a dashboard. One of the things that we'll really want to introduce is bring that into our weekly PDRs that we have with our SMs, so that both they have the visibility and we have the visibility, and then we can work off that. One of the other things is simple management. It's straightforward. The processes for action and work, reducing paperwork, the admin side of things, it's a lot more clear, streamlined going forward. So we found that it's a lot better. I like the sort of, in fact, one of the main things as well is the functionality that was recently introduced for the LIPs and creating work orders. So currently, I mean, I think I can speak, everybody in the room knows how pressurised a planner has, the job a planner has. This gave us the ability, specifically at an SM level and a supervisor level, to create the work orders from start to finish. So rather than this middle management, we were given the faults, paperwork, things like that. It was getting dealt with from the SM. It was then sent to the planner. With a system, with a new functionality of creating the work orders, and it closes them as the work is done, it meant that a supervisor or a section manager could then just action it straight there, create the work order, very timely, goes out, and then it can be closed out all in the one go, rather than reviewing it, send it to a planner then has to input it to a LIPS. Sometimes it's a bit misunderstood, and so this is a much better experience. Recently, over the past 4 months, one of the big things for myself personally is ATME in my current role, and obviously covering TME over the past 6 months, over the summer there last year, was the trace review. So we've moved our trace reviews into Insight, and we're using that tool. Why is it better? One of the main aspects that we found were the fact that we were having to prep all our traces. I'm obviously going to talk generically. I don't know how you run your trace reviews, but we would prep our traces, we would annotate them. That would take a shift prior to the meetings. We would then have our action log, we would have all these things open, our CCQs, things like that. With Insight, and I've got a few examples coming up, all the data's there. So we've got the CCQs, you can set the channels, you can save them. It meant that we had one screen open, and with AIVR, that's the other tool that we like to use, it meant we were working off two systems basically. So we had our Insight open, and we had our AIVR, and because of that, we could see the track, we could then see everything from what renewals were scheduled, the CCQs, the very poors, all that sort of thing. Then you've got all your channels, and then it also identifies what work had been done. So anything that you've created work orders for, again, generally beforehand, what we'd be doing is we'd be sitting and we'd be going through what had been done from the SM, and had that been done at a previous action with the insight, it has all the work that actually had taken place there. So there was no looking back. It was all annotated. So it was all on one sheet. From there, we could also have your run-on-run comparison as well. So if we were reviewing what the output of a tamper or any sort of OTMM, you would see that. You could filter to the actual runs, so we can note that, has that made the difference? Is it falling back? And that all fed into creating problem statements as well. So we could use that information to then further the problem statement aspect of it, and find out what we actually needed to do. Was it another mechanised repair, or does this have to take our next level and our next step, and to the point where we are then raising it higher and taking it to a renewal sort of stage. And another big thing is also the rate of change as well. So the predicting of the any defects and things like that coming our way. So then we could obviously target that. So I suppose the main thing I'm trying to say is the trace reviews, for us, it saved us days of prep from the actual trace review itself, the time it takes, the systems we've got open, the management of like who has to be in the room. It's all reduced. So it's definitely like a good tool. And we've got a couple of examples here. So I don't know if is anybody using Insight? Who's actually using Insight? Have you got a show of hands, or is right? So I don't know if you know, but you can set up channels. So a part of this, you can set up all your channels. You can save that. So you're not setting this up every time. You can have this, as you can see here, you can have it set up for you in the trace review, and you can pick what is relevant to you in your section. So it doesn't have to look like this, but this is one of the examples that we use and how we manage our trace reviews. That's just like a screenshot, but you scroll down and there's the other channels that are also relevant to us. Well, and the next slide, this is showing how we annotate as well. So you can see we can mark up sites that we've had previous faults at, we've had issues. You can also say what work's been done, where you can see from the work orders what work that section managers have put in place. And I definitely think it's the way to go. That's the big game changer for me. And I'll hand over to Rob, and he'll talk about what's coming next.
Okay. Cheers. Hi. Right, so Jordan's given us a great overview of what he uses Insight for based on the current functionality. And as I said, I'm going to give you a bit of an overview of what's coming next. So the team have been working really hard on two big bits of functionality coming. First one in September, we'll be doing what we call track geometry validation. So that's mainly going to be used by the track geometry team in Milton Keynes. But it also provides benefits to you guys as maintenance as well. I don't know how much you know about what the team do in Milton Keynes, but they get a whole load of data from the measurement trains. They have to look through all of that data. They look through the faults that are coming off, the fault reports coming off. They have to look through the log sheets. They compare it to the SD files. So they've got a whole load of some pretty manual processes that they have to do. And then they go and do their version of a trace view. So they go and look at all the traces, see whether they look dodgy, and then they'll invalidate stuff within that. With Insight, so what they'll do is we'll get all that data in Insight. So Insight will get all the data directly off of the train, and it will do what we call a set of integrity checks. So it's checking the faults we generate. We'll check them against what the train thinks they are. We'll check them against the train plan to make sure that they've recorded the right bits. We check them against log sheets and so on, as they do today. We also have an ability in there to do a sort of automated trace view, so we can set up a load of rules in there, and it will say, is there a significant difference between the trace from the previous run? They'll flag all these up with the team in Milton Keynes, and then they will go through and it's sort of an augmented validation process. So the benefit for you guys is that should be quicker, so you should get your geometry data and your faults quicker. But it also means that because we've generated all that insight, the data becomes available to you straight away. So there's no lag between Insight and Tiger, and I know that's been a problem, or it's been a challenge for quite a lot of you. And then because Insight will feed data to CDMS, which in turn then feeds it to Tiger and TGR, there'll be no differences between them, so no red banner to deal with. And what that does do also is it paves the way for us turning Tiger off and everything being managed through Insight. They have a nice feature within this is that we can recover geometry data from the non-recording sections. So I don't know whether you're aware of this, but when the trains run and they transit between all the RSTs, they are actually recording the data. It's not made available to you guys. So what we can do with this functionality is that the geometry team, again, they can identify where we've had missed segments or even where it's been invalidated, when your compliance state is based on your track category, and then they can recover that data. So you can go in and say, right, for that bit, we'll just look for a non-recording segment and we'll recover it. So that means that they potentially don't need to send out as many recovery runs, or potentially don't need to go out and do manual recording. Remember to go to the next slide. Okay, yeah. So the next bit we're doing, which is the CRT management, so critical rail temperatures. We're going to deliver it in 2 phases. The first one's coming in January, and the second one coming later in the year. So I've been deliberately ambiguous about that. I think there's a question about whether we do that in the summer, which I reckon a lot of you might shake your heads, or whether we do it in autumn, winter after that. But what it essentially is an integrated CRT register integrated with the stress register and a JCT register we'll be introducing. It's because the advantage of bringing all that into Insight is that we've got lots of data interfaces, so we can use a lot of that to automatically identify CRT risks. So, for example, we'll use the work orders that create an ellipse all through Insight. And we'll use that to trigger what we call provisional CRT site. So that's effectively create you a CRT risk site that isn't active yet, but it's giving you an early warning as to that you're going to get a disturbance, a transient CRT site here. Once you complete that work, you can just go in, retrieve that, and then make any changes to it and make it active. So hopefully that helps that part of the process. We also, because it's integrated with the stress register part of it, it will automatically create CRT sites for stress unknown, stress required sites. And we'll be able to integrate with things like PLPR. And when we get the automated ballast survey data, we'll be able to automatically identify your deficiency CRT sites for things like slurried beds, deficient ballast, and so on. And also with the asset data, so where you've got your full depth S&C on timber bearers, then it will also create those sites. So there's a lot more automation in that. In terms of your hot weather prep, we obviously you can go in there, you can sort, filter, search your CRT sites in your register. Obviously, you expect that. You can. Jordan talked about a configurable dashboard, so we'd be able to create shortcuts on there and create your own CRT dashboard of things that you're interested in. And you'll be able to create work orders against those CRT sites. So that gives you advantages. You can see what your management plan is against your CRT. You can see the progress of that. You can make sure where you haven't got work orders to fix some of these things, that you can add those in. So that worked very similar to what you would do for PLPR and geometry today in Insight. Obviously during the hot weather season, so that's critical. You can go in there and put your forecast ambient or rail temperatures in. It will give you a list of the sites. We'll present them on a map as well, which might make planning mitigations a bit easier. And we'll integrate with the weather platform. when we're ready with that, for the forecast ambient temperatures, forecast rail temperatures. So then it will actually automatically identify those sites that will require some mitigation. So that's the two big bits of work that we've been working on, and that's taken up a lot of our resources. But we have also been delivering some incremental enhancements as we go through. So tomorrow we've got another release coming out. That's going to include a whole load of rail profile channels, so things like sideware, sidestep, fish plate clearance, that kind of stuff. There's your KLD data. So we've got the run and run, you've got the rate degradation, all the stuff that Jordan was talking about. So that'll be in there. We've got a few other nice features like you can configure your dashboards, you can, a bit like you can on your mobile phone where you add different tabs and move things around. So that's all coming. That'll be tomorrow. And also on your defects table, you can move the columns around, hide columns and that kind of stuff. So it's all stuff that you guys have been asking for. So we've been delivering that. Supposed to be on that page. And then next month we are doing another release, so we'll get the manual defects. We'll be able to add manual defects in. That will integrate with Tiger. So if you add it in Insight, it goes in Tiger. If you add it in Tiger, it comes into Insight. And then there's a whole load of other stuff, loads of stuff that we've got sort of in our slightly longer term roadmap. Things like mismeasurement train risk assessments, force data channel, UGMS, rail defect management. And to sort of help us with that, we've set up something called the product board, which is made up of representatives from TA, from maintenance, from asset management, and so on. But what we also have is a sort of feed into that from actual end users. So we've been trying to have sessions where we get input from you guys in terms of what it is you want to see, what's the priority for you, and then we can use that to influence the decisions of the product board. So if that sounds like something you want to get involved in, something you want to influence our sort of roadmap, then either come find us in the room, which is the little room out there, or send us an email or send an email to the Insight mailbox. And that's it. So yeah, I mean, hopefully, if you've got any questions about anything coming up as well, come and find us. Cool. Thank you.